Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys in California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives us more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, it's time to put this information together. We understand that when the Gentiles were given their opportunity to come here and see this new world that they had not been a part of, they were presented with a dilemma. How can the priests of Mahan church, who's touted themselves as being all-knowing and being the end of the conversation on just about every topic, they had pretty much had the rest of the world, the three parts, under their thumb, and they made it illegal to pretty much challenge their authority. But when they got here and realized that there was people totally independent of the church, independent of the three parts, and they were more advanced, they had the stories of the Bible, they even knew them better than the churches over in the three parts. The church was then presented with this dilemma. And what we're seeing right now in 2021 is we're going to see that dilemma raised back up again. But it's going to have a different outcome. See, when the Europeans came over here the first time, they got to set all the rules. They got to tell you who was who. They got to tell you who Christ was. They were in the position to tell you what was acceptable and what was not. Now we're getting ready to go back into that once again. But now the Most High is not allowing the Gentiles to be in charge anymore. They don't have the last say anymore. They don't get to just say things and not have to prove it. But I'm going to show you a little bit here out of Bancroft's book again. Like I told you, it's not just about the natives. It's also a lot of information about the Europeans. This is called, again, Bancroft's Works, Volume 5, Native Races, Volume 5. Okay? It's called Primitive History. And we know when they talk about primitives, they're talking about us, but we know that all of their information that they've gotten came from us. Now, one part of it, this one right here, we've already kind of taken a look at. So I'm not going to go all into it, okay? I'll read a little bit of it because it's very important to kind of set the stage here. It says, when it first became known to Europe that a new continent had been discovered, the wise men, philosophers, and especially the learned ecclesiastics were sorely perplexed to account for such a discovery. Like I said, so they have to account for this discovery. If you know everything and you've been telling everybody that you know everything, and anybody that goes against you, they just kill, then how do you explain this? And they had no knowledge of it. A problem was placed before them, the solution of which was not to be found in the records of the ancients. Now they're not ancients. They don't have these records anyways. It says, on the contrary, it seemed that old-time traditions must give way. The infallibility of revealed knowledge must be called in question. Even the Holy Scriptures must be interpreted anew. See, that's what's happening right now. See, these were the things that they needed to do back then. Okay, it says, on the contrary, it seemed that old-time traditions must give way. The infallibility of revealed knowledge must be called in question. Did they change any of their traditions? No. They just brought those traditions over here. The infallibility of revealed knowledge must be called into question. They thought that all the information they had over there was infallible, perfect. But did they do that? Did they, kind of reanalyze their traditions, reanalyze their information? Absolutely not. They didn't do any of that. They just continue with the same traditions they had over there. But see, that's what 2021 is going to do. All these things that they should have done when they first got here, they put brakes on that. They pumped the brakes on that. And they just continued and just brought over their own, thought patterns, breakdowns, everything else. So now the Most High gave them their time, their 500 plus years, but now he's going to make them have to fess up to all these things that they've done. And now they're going to have to pay. Okay? It says, another world upheaved, as it were, from the depths of the sea of darkness, was suddenly placed before them. Strange races, speaking strange tongues, peopled the new land. Curious plants covered its surface. Animals unknown to science roamed through its immense forests. Vast seas separated it from the known world. So, they said, they were the ones who were telling you, oh, horses came from Spain. They make it seem as if they were introducing new animals over here. But this is telling you that there was new animals here that they had not been exposed to before. We had camels here. We had plenty of other animals here that they did not have over there. So this is showing you that what they tell you is the reverse. Okay? It's the opposite. So many of these things now, all this information is coming out, and it's making it very difficult for them to maintain these lies. And it's been, we got roam through these immense forests, vast seas, separated from the known world. So the sea, like the Most High did, kept us separated. Okay? It says, its boundaries were undefined, its whole character veiled in obscurity. Such was the mystery that without rule or precedent, they were now required to fathom. So you weren't supposed to come over here and just, put yourselves on top, put yourselves on, as the ones who are going to now define who's what, who has what, who's this, who's that. See, now in 2021, that's what Most High is about to switch up on you. He's taken away your position of being the ones to have the last say. Most High is about to make everything straight. All the things that you guys have made crooked, Most High is going to make it straight once again. It says, and what were the qualifications to grapple with such a subject? Learning such as it was had hitherto been almost the exclusive property of the church. So see, the church, in the three parts, were the ones in control of learning. The priests of Mahan. They were the ones that were keeping everybody dumbed down. And they only wanted them to go to them as having the answers. No different than today. Keeping everyone dumbed down. Even though all these things are happening around them, they're still completing their mission of keeping their subjects dumbed down. Okay? So again, such as it was, had hitherto been almost the exclusive property of the church. Learning, such as it was, had hitherto been almost the exclusive property of the church. Okay? Which vehemently repudiated science as absolutely incompatible with its pretensions. And see, when they got over here, remember, their counter was all off. When they got here, they got exposed, they got the real information. They didn't know much about, the stars. Once they got over here, they got more information. Even still, they're setting up their observatories down in South America. So this was the land of learning. This was a land of, as they like to call, science. But we got our download from the Most High. So they wanted to make it seem they were the ones. Remember, the church now was in charge of learning over there, and they didn't know anything. Their church, their priests of Mahan, their Catholic church, their branches of Christianity. But the learning they got from over here. So these, like I said, were the lands of learning, and that's what they wanted to hide. But that's what the Most High is about to show them very soon. He's going to make everything straight once again. So again, which vehemently repudiated science as was absolutely incompatible with its pretensions. Now, okay, and then gleams of important truths would flash up in the writings of some heretical philosopher, illuminating for a moment the path of intellectual progress. But such dangerous fires were speedily quenched, and that they might not spring forth again to endanger the religious equilibrium of Christianity. Right there again. So to endanger the religious equilibrium of Christendom, which would be not knowing anything. And look at today. They just spread that, ignorance of not knowing anything over here to our lands as well. But like I said, now we're at the time of disclosure. The Most High is disclosing the truth. The Most High is disclosing who he used to give this information to. And it wasn't the people over there. It wasn't the Indo-Europeans over there in Europe. Okay, so religious equilibrium of Christendom. Their authors were generally destroyed. The literature of the age consisted for the most part the musty manuscripts emanating from musty minds, utterly devoid of thought and destitute of reason. See, they're talking about the churches over there, talking about Christianity, their Christianity, and talking about their Catholicism. Is that not true even to today? All these things going on, and you're getting nothing from them. Absolutely nothing from them. Okay? So they're utterly devoid of thought and destitute of reason. That's them. And that's what the Most High is revealing right now to us. But very soon he's going to reveal that to the rest of the world. And they're going to realize that their churches are exactly this: utterly devoid of thought and destitute of reason. The universally adopted view of the structure of the universe was geocentric of the world. What's this? Anthropocentric. Okay. To explain such ordinary phenomenon invented, like that of the cosmos endicoplistus, who asserted that in the northern parts of the flat earth there is an immense mountain behind which the sun passes and thus produces night. Any assertion to the contrary was heresy, meriting death. Independent thought was an iniquity and almost unknown. So that's let you go right there. Anybody who goes against what they used to do before, anyone who asserts anything different, you could be killed for. That's how they, exacted their power. Kept everybody, scared to say anything. Because whatever they said goes. Just like I said, this is a battle between the two priesthoods right here. And it'll be a battle again. Except this time we're going to have our power behind us. We didn't have any backup or anything last time because we messed up. But now we're going to have our power doing amazing things for us. And that's why most of the world doesn't believe us, because, our power has been silent. but he'll be silent no more. It says, Holy Writ and the writings of the early fathers form the all-sufficient manual of science. In them was contained all that is fit for man to know. To ask further was impious, or like a sin. Okay, to them all intricate subjects were turned over for solution, and the riddle must be made to fit the answer. So see, the church already gave you your answer, so you make everything fit that answer. I said, this is setting the whole groundwork for what would happen when they got here the first time. And all these questions were never dealt with. All these things that they were finding they couldn't explain, they had an answer, and you had to twist everything to fit that answer. Their answer was, these people are savages. These people are beneath us. These people don't know anything. So now you turn everything to fit that answer. All the way till today. They're saying Ish, those are the people. So you twist everything to make it seem as if Ish in the Middle East are the people. Those are the lands. So the churches here twist everything to fit that over there in the so-called Middle East, that's the land. See, this was stuff that was already set in motion hundreds of years ago, and it's still in motion today. Again, it says, to them all intricate subjects were turned over for solution, and the riddle must be made to fit the answer. If the answer would not fit the riddle, okay, learning consisted not in the acquisition of knowledge, but in the blind and meaningless repetition of prescribed maxims and forms of rhetoric and catechistical ceremonies, and anything except that which would enlighten the mind and impart true wisdom. It was, in short, a systematic course of leading men as far as possible away from the truth, and leaving them lost and bewildered in a labyrinth of religious dogmas. This is what was set in motion hundreds of years ago. This is what was set in motion when the Spaniards got here and when the other Indo-Europeans got here. They have an answer. Okay? Make a riddle that fits that answer. Don't read. Don't study. Anything to lead people away from truth. Just like it says right there, towards the bottom of the first paragraph there. Leading men as far as possible away from the truth. Giving them one book. Telling them you do not look anywhere else. You just argue about this one book. That's it. So that you never can find the truth. Putting the Most High in a box. Making it seem as if only one book that they give you, that they've approved, is the truth. But see, the Most High is now about to open that whole thing up once again. All these questions. The Most High is now opening it up. People are now having their eyes open to see that the Most High is much bigger than just one book. He's exposing these priests and pastors as ones that'll sit there and have you just arguing and fighting over being a Baptist, an evangelical, a Catholic, a Mormon, a Jehovah's Witness. We're all supposed to, each religion is supposed to be the one religion. All of them ignoring the Most High's chosen people. All of them ignoring who the scriptures were given to in the first place. None of them being willing to cleave to the Most High's chosen people. That is the truth. The truth is you follow our power and you cleave to the Most High's chosen people. That's it. All the other religions are false. And the Most High is about to show you that right now. Many of you putting your faith in these churches, I said, not going to work. Putting your faith in these priests and pastors, not going to work. Putting your faith in political parties, not going to work. Not at all. As long as you keep listening to these pastors, they're going to continue to lead you astray because that's all that they know. They're all part of the priests of Mahan, just as you can see right here. And that's a huge part there at the end. And leaving them lost and bewildered in a labyrinth of religious dogmas. This is what's been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. You guys have been listening to these priests and pastors for hundreds of years. Are you any closer to the truth? Can you really pick up the scriptures and really break it down in the correct context? Not in your replacement theology. You're not replacing the Most High's chosen people. You can come with, as long as you're willing to cleave and be in order. But you're not coming in on your own accord. That's not going to happen. That's not what's in the scriptures. Anywhere. It says, when therefore the question arose, whence were these new lands peopled? How come these strange animals and plants, How came these strange animals and plants to exist on a continent cut off by vast oceans from the rest of the world? The wise men of the time, they talk about them, unhesitatingly turned to the sacred scriptures for an answer. These left them no course but to believe that all mankind were descended from one pair. This was a premise that must by no means be disputed. See, they have certain, there's your answer. So now you gotta, the whole world came from just two people, was peopled by two people. That was their answer. So now all the riddles need to be twisted around to fit that premise. Okay? So again, this was a premise that must be by no means be disputed. The original home of the first pair was generally supposed to have been situated in Asia Minor. Like I said, we're not sure about that. Okay? The ancestors of the people found in the New World must consequently have originally come from the Old World. Though at what time and by what route was an open question, an answer to which was diligently sought for both in the sacred prophecies and in the historical writings of antiquity, where we know they don't have sacred prophecies and the historical writings of antiquity. That would have came from our people. Just like we talked about the Annals and the Four Masters, and when they got their hands on it, all they did was anglicize them. They rewrote them into their languages, plumped their their names into the books, and made it seem as if it was theirs. But these were prophecies given to our people long before they were on our lands. It says, but if the more modern writers on this subject have been less hampered by unanswerable and impassable dogmas, if they have been able to believe that there may be some difficult questions upon which the Bible throws no light. See, that's the whole thing. There are questions that you cannot get answered in the Bible. But the church set it up that you can answer everything through the Bible. And maybe the Bible has certain parts that we're actually talking about prophecies over here in the Americas and prophecies over there in the three parts. But since they only want to look at everything from everything happening over there, all of their prophecies and everything that they say is going to be polluted. Just like Revelations in 6, when it talks about them coming over here to the fourth part. That's not I think it was Revelation 6 and 8. You can't try to apply Revelation 6 and 8 to events over in the three parts, because it doesn't fit. Just like in Baruch 4, when it talks about a nation coming from over the waters, a terrible nation. That's talking about over here. It's not talking about events over there. But again, they're trying to make everything fit. The Bible has everything, so then all the answers. So now you got to make the riddles fit that the Bible has all the answers. And we got people even in our own nation who have been pushing that forever. And you can see all this other information that's coming out. It's not all just in the Bible. And a lot of times we can get information and we can get understanding, and then we go back into the Bible, and then it's clear. It's like, oh, that's what that meant. Oh, I get it now. But you sometimes have to read other books, other hidden books, historical documents, and then you get more understanding that way. So again, you got to believe, it says, be able to believe that there may be some difficult questions upon which the Bible throws no light. If they have felt themselves free to discuss without impiety the possibility of all mankind not having sprung from the pair, their theories are scarcely less wild. Their reasoning is but little sounder. Their tendency is establish maxims by which any given problem may be solved and is no more satisfactory. Theories in themselves are good things, for they lead us to facts. It is often through the doubtful or the false that we attain the truth, as Darwin says. False facts are highly injurious to the progress of science. And that's all. We got a whole lot of false facts that have been thrown out here in this society. A lot of false facts about who the real children of the Most High are. That false fact right there throws everything into a loop. If you don't know who the people are, and you refuse to look because you already have a preconceived notion, you already have an answer, and all of your dogmas and riddles only fit that one outcome. Now you understand why so many people can't understand the truth, because they've been, the priests of Mahan have set up this system, and it always pushes their answers and in a whole system to actually get you all the way only going back to their answers. As if us, as the people being the people, we can't be listened to because it doesn't fit their dogma or their answers. So again, false facts are highly injurious to the progress of science, for they often long endure, but false views, if supported by some evidence, do little harm, as everyone takes a solitary pleasure in proving their falseness. And when this is done, one path towards error is closed, and the truth is often at the same time opened. And that's it. If you start looking for the truth, you start actually, looking at certain ideas and really trying to go down and check to see if they're true. And once you realize that they're false, then you can open yourself to the truth. So that's one thing I kind of thought about the whole time. It's like if you actually read the Bible, everyone says that they love, and you look at the curses, and you try to apply the curses to Ish or any other group, you'll realize that they don't fit. So then that would close that door. And then people would then look for, well, who does fit the curses? But see, since they never close those doors and they leave them open and they don't care about having to substantiate them, that's why they're always lost. Okay? So that's how you open up the truth, but they don't do that, okay? But the value of inquiry depends much upon the spirit in which it is made, and therefore It is that the manner in which most of the writers who had speculated on the origin of the Americans have conducted their researches is greatly to be deplored. Their work does not impress, one as being a steadfast striving to develop unstable postulates into proven facts, but rather as a reckless rushing, regardless of all the obstacles, to the preconceived conclusion. They do not offer a theory as a suggestion of what might possibly be, but as a demonstration founded upon unassailable basis. Each imagines that he has hit upon the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. He asserts that the Aztecs were of Hebrew descent. That is settled. To prove this, he clutches at the lightest straws in the way of analogies. And if the facts ostensibly refuse to fit his theory, then is it here? Tat piss poor less foot fate, something like that. He warps them till they do fit. Now that's kind of funny talking about that, huh? But analogies, even when fairly drawn, are by no means conclusive evidence. So much depends upon the environment of a people that a similarity in that particular is of itself sufficient to account for most of the resemblances which have been discovered between the customs, religions, and traditions of the Americans and those of the old world nations. It's funny he would kind of bring that up about the Aztecs being Hebrews and trying like, well, you need to give us more proof. As much as the Europeans have provided no proof for their claims, but that's like usual. And then they want us to, oh, well, yeah, he'd be like, oh, there's some similarities, but that doesn't mean it's true. And I said, well, you haven't proven it wrong, but that's what's okay because that's what the Most High is about to do right now. The Most High is about to show who his people are. He's not going to allow the other nations now to be the ones to dictate and the ones to sit there and say yay or nay if this is true or that is true. What's not true and, what's facts and what's fiction. And that's what all of this is leading up to. You guys thinking that, you've been through a few months of pain and suffering and now that's enough. That's enough. That's way more than enough that American people need to be going through. So those days are done. This is now an extension of 1492. This is an extension of what you guys could have done when you got here, as far as telling the truth, re-examining yourselves, re-examining, who we are, not just telling us that we're nothing but savages, giving us, we're going to get our identity back. Everyone's going to be getting their identities back. Not like you guys were able to come here and give us a new identity and take ours for yourselves. That's what the new year is going to be representing. The year of having people's eyes opened, minds open, being able to see the truth. When the lies will not stick any longer. The priests of Mahan came here and brought nothing but derision and destruction. And they've had 500 plus years of that. 2021, or at least our new year coming up here in March, is going to render all of those lies as nothing. Because it's the time of the Most High, and he's coming to bring truth and clarity, not the fake dogmas and the fake religions for you guys to fight over this entire time. And that's something as a people, we need to stop just arguing with everybody, fighting with each other. I said the Most High is going to clear all of these things up. We've had pretty much everything sets us up to be in derision, to be going against each other, because that's what they wanted to do. They set that up as the answer. And the only way you can get to the answer is by going through their religions, going through their school systems, going through their churches, and all of them leading you to nothing but lies. Keep your eyes open, brethren. The Most High is on his way. All praise is the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement of the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. Shalom.